Hello, and welcome to the 10th lesson of my series Salesforce for Beginners. In this video, we are going to learn about data management using the tool DATALOADER, how to install the tool DATALOADER, and how to use DATALOADER for various operations like insert, update, export, and delete from the data which is present in Salesforce. If you haven't checked out my previous lessons, the links to the previous lessons will be in the description. Also, I'd like to add that this is the final lesson of the admin series, and starting next video, we are going to start on Salesforce Development for Beginners tutorials. I'm going to call it Salesforce Development for Beginners and make a new playlist for that. However, keep an eye on the Salesforce for Beginners playlist because in case I want to add some new lessons for admin, I'll just add it to that playlist as well. So let's get started with today's tutorial. Alright, so what is a data loader? So data loader is a client application which is created by Salesforce themselves, which is used to load your bulk data for either importing data into Salesforce or exporting data which is already present in Salesforce to your local computer. To do so, Salesforce uses the .csv files, which are Excel files but with extension .csv, to load data into Salesforce systems. And in case of export, Salesforce exports the data with an output file of .csv using DATALOADER. We'll take a good look at that when we get to the practicals, but at the moment, let's just list out a few key features of DATALOADER. A DATALOADER is a very easy to use wizard interface. It can work with large files with up to 5 million records. There is a very easy to use drag and drop field mapping which maps your columns to your Salesforce fields, and DATALOADER supports all the objects including the custom objects which are in your Salesforce database. It also provides you a detailed success and error log for all the operations that you do using DATALOADER. And lastly, you can use it both with your Windows and Mac. Okay, so now that we've seen the basic features of DATALOADER, now let's get to how to install DATALOADER. To do that, let's log into your free Salesforce developer account. I'm currently on the home screen of my free Salesforce developer account. On the top right corner, click on Setup. In the quick find, type DATALOADER. Under Administer Data Management, you'll see DATALOADER. Click on DATALOADER. Once the screen loads, you'll see that there is option for download DATALOADER for Windows and download DATALOADER for Mac. Based on your operating system, select the DATALOADER you want to download. I just clicked on DATALOADER for Windows, and here is the zip file for the installation. Once the zip file is downloaded, you need to unzip the file and install it on your PC. But before you do that, make sure that you have the Java OpenJDK 11 available in your PC. If you do not, make sure to download that. I'll keep the download link for that in the description. On the zip file, start by extracting the file and then install the DATALOADER. I've already installed DATALOADER in my system before, so I won't be doing that. But once you've installed DATALOADER in your system, launch the tool. And this is how the DATALOADER will look in your system. As you can see on the UI, there are multiple operations that you can do in DATALOADER like insert, update, upsert, delete, export, etc. We'll go through each of them when we do the practicals. So now that we've seen how to install the DATALOADER, let's go and see the basic operations on DATALOADER, starting with the insert operation. So let's say Miss Teacher is on a vacation and she does not have access to the Salesforce system, but she has recently graded some papers and she's logged all the marks in an Excel sheet. Once Miss Teacher is back, she will have to now create all these records in the Salesforce system. If Miss Teacher decides to do this manually, she will have to create all these records into the Salesforce system one after the other, which is going to be a time-consuming process. She can, however, avoid this by using the DATALOADER. To do that, all she has to do is upload her CSV Excel file via the DATALOADER to the Salesforce system, and the DATALOADER is going to take care of uploading all these records directly to Salesforce. This way, Miss Teacher does not have to create all these records one by one, and hence it's going to save a lot of time. So let's try to do this practically by trying to insert some student records into the Salesforce system using DATALOADER. To do that, first we have to create an Excel CSV file with some data. So here on my local machine, I already have a file which is an Excel file, and as you can see, the type is Excel, separated values. This is nothing but an Excel file with an extension .csv. So I'm going to open this file. As you can see, we have a few columns like name, father, phone, science, maths, status. We also have parent, email, and passing status. So these columns basically correspond to the fields which are in our Salesforce object. And then we have 5 records, which is for Abigail, Jason, Sean, Nico, and Boa. And you can see that we have other details also populated. I've created the sheet beforehand. You can recreate this Excel sheet in your own machines as well. Once you've done inputting all these values in your sheet, click on File and click on Save As. For the file name, you can give it as student file and save the type as CSV, delimited. and click on save. Since I already have this file, I'm not going to save this again. So we now have the data ready, which is the first part of this process. For the next step, we have to now load the CSV file into the data loader. But before we go there, let's go into the Salesforce system and see how the records are created manually. So I'm back to my Salesforce developer account. Let's go to Students tab. This is a custom object that I've created in one of my past lessons. If you haven't already created this, you can go and check out my past lessons. Let's click on New. On the new student record page, you can see that there are multiple fields. The reason why we are on this page is to show you how all of these fields map to each column in our sheet. Starting with the student's name, this actually corresponds to the name column. Similarly, we have father, phone, science and maths columns, which correspond to father's name, phone number, science marks and math marks. We have few more fields, but if you remember, these are some fields which will get populated using some automations that we've done in some of our previous lessons. So for the time being, we are going to ignore these fields. And that's why I've left these columns as blank. Another important point to always remember is any field which is marked as required information, which is denoted by this red bar, has to be present in the sheet as well. If any of this important data is missing, then those records are going to fail while doing the data load. At a later stage when we will be doing this data load, we are going to map each of these fields and columns together. So let's go to the data loader now. So now I have the data loader open in front of me. So I'm going to go and click on Insert. This is going to bring me to this login wizard page, and I'm going to go and log in by clicking on production, which is nothing but login.salesforce.com. If you're trying to log in to your sandbox, you will have to click on sandbox, and that is going to take you to test.salesforce.com. But let me change it back to production. I'm going to log in via the OAuth method, which is nothing but using your login ID and password to log into your org. There is another password authentication method, but I'm not going to go through that in our basic tutorial. We need to log in so that the data loader gets access to our Salesforce org to do the insert operation. So I'm going to click on login. On this pop-up, you need to give your username and password and click on login. Once you click on login, this is going to ask you for the verification code for the first time. Provide this code from your email and click on verify. Once you do that, it is going to ask you to allow access to your Salesforce org. So click on allow. It's going to say verifying Salesforce username and password. If everything goes fine, it is going to say login successful. You need to click on next. There, our data loader and our Salesforce system is now connected. We will now be able to see the list of objects which are available for data load. Since I want to load the data in the student object, I'm going to look for that and click on it. Next, I need to click on browse. Go to the folder where I have the file and click on the CSV file and click on open. Now that we've selected the file as well, I'm going to click on next. A new pop-up is going to say initialization succeeded, and it's going to also tell us how many records are there in that. According to the data loader, we have 5 records to be loaded. You can verify that in the sheet as well. As you can see, these are the 5 records, as it also says in the count. So on data loader, I'm going to click on OK. This takes us to the step 3, which is mapping. Here, as I've already mentioned, we are going to map the columns of the sheet to the fields in the Salesforce system. To do a mapping, we need to go and click on create or edit a map. On the mapping dialog box, we need to drag and drop the Salesforce fields which you can see on this window. For example, father_s_name is the API name of the father's name field which is in Salesforce. I'm going to drag it and put it next to the father. Similarly, I'm going to drag name beside name and so on. So this way, the data which is in the name field is going to go to the name field in Salesforce. Similarly, maths is going to go to maths marks. You can now click on save mapping to save this mapping so that you don't have to do this the next time you're uploading the similar file. But I'm just going to click on OK for now. Verify all your current mappings and click on next. Now the final step is to actually select a directory where we want to store the logs for the success and failures. To do that, I'm going to click on browse. I'm going to go to the folder where I want to store the logs, and I'm going to click make a new folder for specifically logs. Select it. Once it's selected, I'm going to click on OK. Now click on finish. It is now going to give you a warning saying that you have decided to do an insert operation and click yes to begin. So I'm going to click on yes. There, the final operation says that there were 5 successful inserts and 0 errors. You can click on view success or view errors to see if there were any successes or errors. As you can see, these were the success records, and this, which is no records at all, is the error record. You can close this and click on OK. There, you've successfully uploaded 5 records into your Salesforce system using DataLoader. So let's go to the Salesforce system and see if these records got actually inserted. I'm currently on the home screen of my free Salesforce developer account. I'm going to go and click on Students tab. Beside all, I'm going to click on Go. These are all the records which are present in my Salesforce org. You can see that some of the records match the records that we had in our sheet, like Boa or Nico. So I'm going to click on Boa. As you can see, this record, Boa and father's name Hancock, is the record which matches the row in our sheet. And science marks and maths marks have exactly the same data which we had inputted. Let's quickly go back to the Students tab. Let's click on Edit, which is going to edit the list view. And let's include a few more fields. I'm going to include created date, father's name, math marks, science mark, and parent email as well. Scroll and click on Save. This is just going to edit the list view so that on this list view page we can see all these data as well. Now let's sort it by created date. As you can see, these records were all created today. So these are the 5 records which came in via a data loader. So now that we've seen how an insert operation happens in Salesforce data loader, let's go and see how you can do an update operation using data loader using an example. So let's say Miss Teacher wants to update some records in Salesforce using data loader. In that case, Miss Teacher is going to make the changes in her CSV file, like changing marks from 31 to 45, changing science marks from 37 to 44, or even changing some names, etc. Once she uploads the file to data loader automatically updates all these records in the Salesforce system. This is a quick and efficient way of updating multiple records at the same time. So let's try to update the same records that we inserted some time ago and see them in Salesforce system. The first step again is to prepare a CSV file. This time, instead of using the students file which I used the previous time, I'm going to go to logs and I'm going to copy the success file, paste it out here. Let me rename this to, let's say, update file. You can see this is again a CSV file. So I'm going to open this. You can see that the update file also has the same data that we had on the previous one, but this time you can see that there are some extra fields like the ID field. This is basically the Salesforce ID of the records that were created in Salesforce. These get created whenever a record is inserted. For the update operation, this ID is really important because this tells us if we make any change, which record to go to and make those changes to. So we're going to leave this as it is. And let's make some changes in the remaining fields. So I'm going to change the science marks of Boa Hancock to, let's say, 99. Also for the parents email ID column, let me give some values now. Alright, so I've given some email IDs over here. I just put the word fake in between because these are not real email IDs. And I'm going to click on save. So now before we just move on to the data loader, let's delete a few more columns. Example, let's delete the status column because we don't want it. And also the last column, which is again the same status column. These two were some extra columns that were created by data loader when we were doing the insert operation. Since this is a success log, it was going to have that extra. We don't really need the passing status as well because we don't want to put any data there, so let it be. So now our CSV is actually ready, so I'm going to save this again. So now let's open the data loader. So on the data loader, now click on update. This directly takes us to step 2 and not the login screen because I was logged in the previous time and I did not close the application. In case you close the application, this is going to ask you to log in again. So I'm going to go and click on student record and choose a CSV file by clicking on browse. Let's select the update file which we just created and click on next. This is going to tell you that you have 5 records to be updated. So click on OK. Again, we are going to do the mapping. So click on create or edit a map. This time, let's try something new. Click on auto match fields to columns. You see that some fields automatically got copied over. That is because data loader also tries to auto map some of the columns and fields in Salesforce. So as you can see, ID got mapped to ID, name got mapped to name, and parent email got mapped to parent email. This is because the names are spelled a little similar. Now let's do the remaining manually. Alright, so all the fields are mapped. Click on OK. You can verify the mapping here, but let's do one additional step. Let's go back to click on create or edit a map, and this time let's do save mapping. I'm going to call this S mapping and click on save. This is so that we don't have to do mapping the next time again. I'm going to leave the log directory as it is. You can change it if you want and click on finish. Again, the warning is going to say that you're going to make some changes in the system and this is not reversible. So you click on yes. So as the operation finished message says, there were 5 successful updates and 0 errors. You can again view the successes. You can see that these records were updated and these parent emails were updated as well. Click on OK and let's go back to Salesforce system and see if these records were really updated. Alright, so I'm on the home screen of my free Salesforce developer account. I'm going to click on Students tab. Let's click on All and Go. So now we are on the list view. As you can see, we have all the parent email IDs updated of all the records that we have updated using DATALOADER. Also, Boaz science marks is now 99, which was the change that we did. There, we've successfully updated all the records using DATALOADER. So now let's move on to the third operation, which is Upsert. Upsert, as it's in the name, is both update and insert operation. It basically means update student records if they exist or create new records if they do not exist in Salesforce. So let's say Miss Teacher wants to do the Upsert operation. She's then going to update the CSV files such that she's going to make some changes on the existing records as well as create a new record which has not been inserted previously. This way, when you do the Upsert operation using DATALOADER, it's going to update all the existing records which already have an ID, and then it's going to go and create this new record and assign it a new ID. So let's try this out practically. So on your PC, let's go to the update file. Let's rename this to, let's say, Upsert file. There, you don't have to do this. It's not a necessary step. I'm just doing this to avoid any confusion. So let's open this file. As you can see, this is the same file that we used for the update operation. So let's make some more updates. Let's change the name Hancock to Hancock Jr. Let's change all the phone numbers to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to copy the same number everywhere. There. As you may have already noticed, we've only done changes to existing records. So far it's like an update operation. Let's make a new record over here. I'm going to name this Sarada, father as Sasuke. I'm going to give this a different number. Let's give it 99 and 98. Let's not give it an email ID because it's not a mandatory field. So as you can see, all these records have IDs because these are existing records, while this one does not. So this record is going to be inserted while these records will be updated. So click on Save. Alright, so our CSV file is now ready. Let's go to the DATALOADER. On DATALOADER, I'm going to click on Upsert. I'm going to select the object, which is student. Browse. Select the file, which is Upsert file. Click on Open. Click on Next. It would now say you have 6 records to be upserted. Click on OK. Since this is an upsert operation, it requires a field to which it is going to map records based on it. So I'm going to leave this as ID because we don't have a separate external ID field. We're just going to click on Next. This time, instead of creating a new map, I'm going to go and click on Choose an existing map. I'm going to select the S mapping which we did on the previous update operation. Click on Open. Click on Next. I'm going to leave the log directory the same and click on Finish. This time it says you've decided to add new records or update existing records, which is nothing but the Upsert operation. Click on Yes. As you can see, there were 6 successful upserts. Click on OK and let's go to the Salesforce system and see if the changes are updated. So I'm currently on the home screen of my free Salesforce developer account. I'm going to click on Students tab, click on All and Go. Let's make a quick change in the list view. So click on Edit. Scroll down. Let's add the phone number. Scroll and click on Save. Let's quickly sort this using the created date. As you can see, we already have this record, which is Sarada, father's name is Sasuke, maths mark is 98, 99 in science marks, and the phone number is exactly how we had it in the CSV. This is a new record which just got inserted. The remaining records that we see over here with an parent email ID, these all have the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 copied over for all the records. Again, these were the updates made to existing records in our CSV. There, we've successfully done an upsert operation, that is updating all the existing ones and inserting a new record. The next operation now is export. Export will export all the data that you have specified in your data loader from your Salesforce org to your PC. So let's say Miss Teacher wants to export all the records in the student object using data loader. She's going to go and click on export on the data loader. This time she will not have to upload a CSV file because she wants to export from Salesforce to the local PC and not the other way around. What this is going to do is DATALOADER automatically is going to export all the records which were mentioned in an SOQL query to Miss Teacher's PC in a CSV format. So the output is going to be a CSV file. So let's see this example practically using DATALOADER. So on DATALOADER, go and click on export. Select the object that you want to export the data from. So I'm going to select student and give a name to the file that you want the export output file to have. I've renamed it to export extract and click on browse and set the destination folder where you want the export file to be. So I'm going to select the file where I have the remaining files. This is going to be export extract. Click on save, click on next. Step 3 this time is edit your query. This is a SOQL query which is going to be queried on the database that is going to give you a result. The result records will be stored in the CSV file and put on your local PC. I'm going to select all the fields. This basically means that my output record needs to have all the fields which are there in Salesforce as columns in my CSV file. You can also add conditions that is going to be used to filter the data, but at the moment we're going to leave it as it is. Click on finish. The warning sign is going to say that it's going to perform an export. Click on yes. As you can see, there were 13 successful extractions, which means that in our output CSV file there are 13 records. Click on OK. Let's go back and open the file, which is the export extract. As you can see, we have 13 records. Each has an ID associated because these records are already present in the Salesforce system. It also has a lot of columns which are nothing but all the fields that we selected from the Salesforce system. As you can see, all the names of all the students are present in this column. There, we've successfully done an export. So moving on to the final operation of the day, which is delete. As the name suggests, it is basically used to delete records from Salesforce system by specifying the IDs of the records that you want to delete. So let's say Miss Teacher wants to delete some records from the Salesforce system. She's going to upload a CSV file with all the IDs of all records that she wants to delete. Once the CSV is uploaded to the DATALOADER, DATALOADER is going to match the IDs to the records in Salesforce and delete any record which was specified in the CSV file. Only the records whose IDs are present in the CSV file will be deleted. Every other record is going to remain untouched. So let's see this practically using the DATALOADER. So on my PC, I'm going to copy the Upsert file, paste it, and I'm going to rename this as delete file. There, I'm going to open this delete file now. Alright, as you can see, some of the records have some IDs. I'm going to remove this final record because I do not want to delete Sarada's record, as well as it does not have an ID over here, which doesn't really matter because I don't really want to delete that record as well. Let's say I want to delete two records, which is Nico and Boa. I'm going to delete all the other rows. So I'm going to delete all of that. There, I'm going to click on save. Our CSV file for the delete operation to delete two records, which is Nico and Boa, is ready. So now let's open the DATALOADER. On DATALOADER, click on delete. Select the object student because we want to do the delete operation there. Click on browse. Select the delete file, click on open. Click on next. As you can see, it already has detected that there are two records that needs to be deleted. Click on OK. Click on create or edit a map and map the ID column from the sheet to the ID column in Salesforce. Click on OK and click on next. I'm going to leave the log file again the same. Click on finish. So it says that you've decided to delete the existing records. Click on yes. We have another warning. I'm just going to click on yes. There, we had two successful deletes. You can see view successes. As you can see, these items were deleted. Click on OK. Let's go to the Salesforce system and see if these records have been deleted. In my Salesforce developer account, I'm currently on the same page that we had left from our earlier operation. As you can see, it still has Nico and Boa on it, but I'm going to click on refresh. As you can see, we had 13 records before, but now that I've refreshed this page, we only have 11. And you can see that Boa and Nico records are still not in this list. There, we've successfully deleted the two records using DATALOADER. You can verify if these records were really deleted or not by clicking on Recycle Bin. So you can see that in our Recycle Bin, we have Boa and Nico records which were deleted. So that is it for this video. If you liked the video, press on that like button, comment on this video, share this video and subscribe to my channel BeginIT. This is Devjit and I'll see you next time.